Analysis machine. How's our progress?
File 27 analysis is nearly complete.
Excellent. Then let's wrap things up. Give me file 27-01-08.
Understood. Kari Kamiya's data is being transferred.
She's the 8th child, the little sister of the team leader, and bearer of what could very well be the most powerful crest of all. But does her late arrival mean she doesn't have as much personality or impact as the other Digidestined? And what exactly is the meaning of the Crest of Light? Hey guys, this is D Reaper, and today we're doing a character analysis on Kari Kamiya. Now let's be clear, our focus will be on Kari herself, so we'll be keeping the homeostasis stuff to a minimum. And with that clarification, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're first introduced to Kari when Tai and Koromon are sent back to the real world after their fight with Edamon, and pretty soon we start getting the impression that Kari's a little different. She's special, you could say. Now, the exact roadmap of why Kari is so special varies between the novel, anime, and even the movies, but what all agree on is Kari, the human child in and of herself, is a special girl, and not just in an everyone is special sort of way.
Is another way of saying no one is.
There are a few things that we can note right away with Kari. One is her admiration of her big brother Tai, and another is her relationship with the Digimon. Her views on Tai seem pretty straightforward, so let's start there. If you followed along since our analysis on Tai, then you probably know that even though Tai can be a blockhead at times, he's still an admirable character with a ton of great qualities, and we see Kari expanding on those qualities as she describes to Koromon how caring, cool, and capable Tai is, despite the fact that he bugs her sometimes. Throughout their stay, Tai is having a pretty difficult time mentally. He appears to be dealing with a form of combat neurosis, torn between remaining in the human world or returning to the digital world. He's also openly flustered and frustrated with his own limitations. Although he's able-bodied and willing to return to the digital world and continue the fight, he feels inhibited by his technical illiteracies with activating his Digivice. But for every one of his doubts, Kari is there with a word of encouragement, sure that he'll figure it out eventually, soothing him with calming thoughts and assuring him things will be fine even if they can't get back right away, or even ever again. I think part of this speaks to the type of relationships that they have. Although Kari has more confidence in Tai than anyone else, she knows that Tai has a tendency towards recklessness, and she worries he might take extreme measures if he gets too desperate. So she does her best to reassure him before he reaches that point. Another layer to this admiration is Tai is a lot of things that Kari's just not. Tai is an athlete and shown to be a lot more physically capable than most. He's also bold, assertive, decisive, and typically very sure of himself. And it's quite the opposite in Kari's case. Kari seems to be prone to illness, or at least more susceptible to it than the other kids in the group. She's also quite meek and somewhat skittish, on occasions declaring she's going to dig deep and be brave just like her brother. But all in all, it's clear that more than anything, she loves Tai 3000. It's a beautiful moment. As Tai is returning to the digital world, Kari isn't upset about the fantastical events. She's not concerned that her new friend Agumon went ahead of them. She's not worried that she'll miss out on an exciting new adventure, and she doesn't even ask Tai to take her with him. Instead, she pleads for Tai to stay with her. She says this even knowing he can't, and she calls for him not to forget about her because she doesn't really have any idea of how long they'll be gone or when or if they'll come back. But since we know with future knowledge that Kari will be pulled into the fight sooner than later, let's talk about her relationship with the Digimon and her other special talents. Kari's alleged first reaction to seeing a Digimon is quite different from the other Digidestined. Not only does she remain casual, she addresses Koromon by name before he can introduce himself, though she cannot explain how she knows this. Within minutes, she and Koromon are playing together like old friends. With Tai, she seems to have intuition bordering ESP, as she's able to recite Tai's inner dialogue almost verbatim. When Tai is alarmed at seeing the Digimon partially emerge on the TV, Kari voices that she's been able to see them for quite some time, and is glad that Tai can see them too. So what exactly is going on here? A lot of this is tied back to her fragmented memory of pivotal events that happened several years back, that started with a crack in the boundary between worlds and concluded with Koromon digivolving to Greymon and fighting Parrotmon in the streets. And in order to understand this relevance, we have to ask why the other kids don't remember. It appears that the group are victims of what's known as the Mandela effect. This is a phenomenon where a group of people share the same false memories of an event. There are several reasons why something like this can occur, including hysteria, social conformity, and memory confabulation, to name a few. But to give a simple explanation, let's say you were abducted by aliens.
Warning. Current analogy might create its own subset of issues.
Oh, right. Message received. Okay, let's say you suddenly find you've slipped into another reality, parallel to your own. After spending the afternoon in a world similar to your own, but a little off, you slip back into your own world and try to explain your experience to others, only to find no one believes you. Worse, your testimony starts causing issues. Your friends start avoiding you for being weird, your mom is worried because she thinks you've lost your mind, and your dad gets angry because he thinks it's all a big prank. After a week of living like this, you realize that there's nothing to be gained from sticking to your true account, while on the other hand, you have everything to lose. So you admit that you made the whole thing up.
The truth is, there was no wolf. I faked the whole thing.
After speaking to the school counselor and apologizing to your parents for making them worry, you begin thinking it probably would make more sense that you were having an off day than whatever fantastical experience that may or may not have taken place. And in addition to lying to others, you start lying to yourself until at last you start believing it too. If you're unfamiliar with the realm of psychology, you might be surprised to discover how easily something like this can occur. But there are no shortage of circumstances that can lead to such occurrences. Analysis machine, if you would.
Information displayed.
But I think a good example of what happened with the other Digidestineds comes straight from the news report.
Apparently, some of our viewers have called into our station claiming to have seen monsters on our newscast screen. Authorities believe this is merely a bit of hysteria among a few individuals. If you think you see these monsters, you should seek medical attention immediately.
In addition to foreshadowing of future Digidestins to come, we see exactly what kind of attitude those who don't conform must deal with. Disbelief, labeling, accusations, and more. So it makes sense that the children would succumb to these mental attacks, eventually purging their memories of the truth, until the exact date that the event is forced into the spotlight by their shared experience later in the series. But Kari appears somewhat resistant to this brainwashing, being able to access certain details from the past incident and recall them with a degree of confidence. And speaking of that incident and Kari's special talents, we learn later on that it was both Tai and Kari that allowed Agumon to digivolve. Why is that? For Tai being Agumon's destined partner, that's an easy enough question to answer. But what role does Kari play? Well, we learn later that the power that allows Digimon to digivolve resides within the children, and both the Digivices and the crest act as amplifiers to enhance that process. And it seems Kari might have that enhancement power too. It's possible that Tai, being much younger than the present-day version, and not having access to either of these tools for evolution, may have needed Kari to help act as a super battery to help Agumon reach the next level. With that in mind, maybe Kari's light is the light of evolution? Well, let's put a pin in that for now and hop back onto a cohesive timeline. Shortly after the group returns to the human world to begin the search for the 8th child, Tai asks Kari if she's ever received anything resembling a Digivice or a crest. But because of some hijinks with their cat Miko, Kari's Digivice is lost, and Kari has no recognition of the device. And Tai seems somewhat relieved that Kari doesn't have to get involved in the fighting. But as we know, this is not to be, because not long after, Kari and Gatomon have their fated meeting. The first thing that Gatomon notes is Kari's recognition, kindness, and acceptance towards Digimon, as Kari is not fooled by Gatomon trying to pass herself off as an exotic cat, and Kari invites her into their home. Not wanting to risk letting someone who could possibly be the 8th child slip through her fingers, Gatomon thinks it's a shame that she has to extinguish someone so pure and innocent, but still appears determined to go through with it. But her inner instincts cause her to hesitate, and not long after we see why, as Kari is confirmed as the 8th child with Gatomon as her destined partner. In the whirlwind of this new revelation, Kari is made aware of the amount of danger she is in, as Gatomon is captured and she's alerted that her identity must remain hidden for her own safety. We see even though she's frightened, she tries to hide her distress from Tai.
You scared, Kari?
Not really.
Atta girl.
There are several times in the series where Kari tries to hide her fear or fatigue to try and be strong for Tai, another testament of how much she trusts and admires Tai and wants to be more like him. But in spite of her near unshakable faith in Tai, it doesn't prevent her from worrying about him, because she knows her brother has something of a reckless streak. Oftentimes her parting words to Tai are to please be careful.
Please be careful.
Hey, aren't I always?
He says this moments before the two tumble down a flight of stairs. After their parents, along with most of the citizens in town, get captured, Tai and Agumon lead a two-man assault on Myelosmon's army. Kari is worried about them, of course, but as she confides in Matt who's watching her, she still firmly believes Tai will return soon with their parents in tow. It's only when she looks to Matt for confirmation, and he instead voices his heavy skepticism, pointing out the extreme danger of Ty's actions, and he was very likely to get hurt in the process, that actually dawned on her that Ty might really be in over his head, and she begins to cry. Later on, when their location is discovered, and Matt and the others are being overwhelmed by Mayoda's forces, we see how selfless Kari can be, as she offers herself up to Phantomon, unable to bear the sight of others suffering in her place.
I'm ready. Hurry, man, stop her!
No, Kari!
Even hearing the finality in her voice, I think it's clear she understands the fate that awaits her. The Dark Forces are so baffled by her actions, they partially believe her decision was merely the naivete of a child. Even as she stands before Mayoda in one of the show's darker moments, Mayoda asks her to confirm that she understands what's about to happen to her.
Little girl, why have you chosen to show yourself to me? Do you have any idea what's about to happen to you?
I've got a guess.
Then why?
'Cause you were hurting all those people. Huh?
Seeing that she does, Mayoda, unable to grasp the idea of such compassion, tries to make sense of her actions. Fortunately, his bemusement allowed the others a chance to catch up, and the team bands together to fight him. But in the melee, Wizardmon is struck down while protecting Kari and Gatomon. This is the last push for Kari as her crest and Digivice start reacting, which allows Gatomon to digivolve to the ultimate level as Anjiwoman, and with her power, they are finally able to put an end to Mayoda. For now. As the group continues the fight in the real world, and even after they return to the digital world, Kari doesn't appear to have any difficulty adjusting to the fighting, a clear testament to her adaptability, and she quickly proves to be an asset to the team. Her extrasensory-esque abilities come in handy several times, like when she prevented the other Digimon from attacking Chumon, when she sensed whatever was hiding in the brush did not have evil intentions, or when she reached out to communicate with homeostasis to help quell the team's infighting. And it's during that time that we learn more about the crest's origins and functions. We know that the crests were designed for each chosen child, so it's not a coincidence that the immensely courageous Tai got the crest of courage, or that the knowledge-seeking Izzy attained the crest of knowledge. These were predestined for their owners, but in Kari's case, she's shown to have the aptitude for multiple crest qualities. So maybe the crest of light can be categorized in something of a literal sense, like when you mix the colors of a rainbow together and get white. Perhaps when you mix all the crests together, you get light. Well, maybe we'll circle back to that later. In addition to many other positive traits, Kari is the most agreeable and accommodating person in the group, bar none. So much so that she is the only member of the group that never has conflict with any of the other team members. And why would anyone have conflict with her? She's practically blameless. But blameless is a far cry from perfect, because when taking a closer look at Kari's altruism, it reveals her fatal flaw, which is her inability to communicate her own needs to others. Because Kari tends to be most susceptible to illness, her family will often show concern for her, frequently checking in on her to see if she's okay. And her response is usually that she's fine, and not to worry about her. But she's not always completely honest with them, like when Tai asked her if she was scared earlier. Kari behaves this way as not to be a burden to others. And though tending to the needs of others ahead of your own can often be viewed as a righteous act, sometimes this desire to accommodate others might not just be detrimental to self, but also cause a bigger strain on the person or persons you are trying to spare. We can see a good example of this in the flashback of Kari's near-death experience when Tai brought her outside to play soccer when she was sick.
But Reaper, are you blaming Kari for the incident even though she was just a little girl?
Not necessarily. If we're playing the blame game, Reaper would start with why a severely ill child was left home alone, and then under the care of an elementary schooler. And even before the act, Tai is aware that the more comfortable act for Kari is to remain indoors and rest. But I want to emphasize the importance and responsibility of being able to communicate your needs even as a child. An important example of this is learning to go to the bathroom. During potty training, small kids often don't have the know-how to go to the bathroom by themselves, but it's important that they learn how to communicate when they need to go, so an adult can assist them. With that in mind, it is important even at a young age that Kari communicates that she's in pain and doesn't feel well enough to go outside. She might have went along with it to make Tai happy, since she knew he wanted to play soccer, but as seen, the outcome served neither purpose, but instead became a source of pain as the incident became a traumatic event for Tai. But even after returning from her close call in the hospital, Kari's focus is still on the disappointment of not making Tai happy, a mindset that proved both harmful to herself and her brother. It certainly would have been nice if she learned something from this experience, because we see another similar event play out after the defeat of Puppetmon. Although the team is advancing into enemy territory, they have a brief respite mid-travel as they are searching for a lead on their next destination, and joking amongst themselves to keep their spirits up. They hear Kari coughing, and Garamon asks playfully if she's okay, but mere moments after confirming that she's fine, Kari collapses. Once they find her shade and confirm that she is indeed running a fever, Tai asks Kari why she didn't speak up earlier, since they certainly would have taken it easier had they known she was having a hard time. But Kari responds that she didn't want to slow anyone down.
How come you didn't say something before now, Kari? If we'd known sooner, we could have rested till you felt better.
You mad? I didn't want to slow everyone down.
Oh, I'm not mad.
But once again, Kari's pattern of neglecting her own needs for the good of the others proves counterproductive, as not only does the team deviate from their course, it forces the team to split up further to cover both the needs of keeping her safe and securing medicine. Not to mention it has the opposite effect of unburdening Tai, as he's nearly losing himself with worry until they're reunited. After Kari's fever breaks, the team is searching for a way out of the underground labyrinth, when they come across enslaved Numemon. Witnessing the injustice triggers something in Kari, and she becomes partially synchronized with homeostasis, signified by the glowing light, voice change, and increased foresight. Well, I said we'd be keeping the homeostasis stuff to a minimum, and I meant it. Instead, I want to focus on what causes these triggers for Kari, as we see several in this episode, and the key seems to be the loss or disregard for life. It was the same type of instance when her crest activated after Wizardmon sacrificed himself, with a similar overwhelming reaction after the newly freed Numemon are slaughtered by Machinedramon when they try to protect her, resulting in flooding Agumon and the others with Digivolution energy.
I feel the power!
So perhaps that means Kari's light represents life? Well, that is connected to evolution. Life does find a way after all. Well, let's bookmark that for now. In the final confrontation with Paimon, Kari proves to herself she can indeed be strong and courageous like her brother. When Paimon picks off the Digidestined one by one, it's only Kari, TK, and Patamon remaining, who have yet to be turned into keychains. Paimon gets a hold of TK, and although TK urges her to run and save herself, Kari refuses to leave him, and instead attempts to pull TK free from Paimon's grasp. This may seem like an inconsequential detail, but when taking into account how compliant Kari is, it gives this scene a little more meaning. For instance, this happened just moments before.
Looks dangerous. You go first. Oh.
Kari is almost always compliant and non-confrontational, but when faced with abandoning a friend or fighting against insurmountable odds, Kari chooses to fight, even if it means speaking up and acting in opposition of her friend's desires. So perhaps this is a step in the right direction for Kari. But I think that should just about cover it.
Notice, a conclusion regarding Kari's crest of light has yet to be reached.
Ah, good catch. We've talked a lot about it, but what exactly is Kari's crest of light? Is it the light of evolution? The spark of life? A compilation of all other crests? Or something we've yet to mention? The correct answer is yes. Kari's crest of light signifies all that's good in the world, and as its wielder, Kari can reflect that goodness and convert it to the power of light. So Kari can channel the power of courage, like her big brother, or love, like Sora, or friendship, like Matt. But it goes beyond even that. Things like optimism, growth, kindness, positivity, happiness, purity, humbleness, honesty, resilience, integrity, and many more traits and actions can be utilized to activate Kari's crest of light. This potency and versatility makes the crest of light undoubtedly the most powerful crest, and as its wielder, Kari, the only one capable of utilizing such a power, is the Digidestined with the most potential. Not merely because the light chose her, but because within her is a wellspring of goodness, shining a light bright enough to pierce the deepest darkness. Hey guys, this is D Reaper post credit, and if you made it this far, we just want to say thank you for watching. It took longer than we thought, but this marks the conclusion of our character analysis on all the original Digidestined. Special thanks to those of you who have been following us since our first analysis on Tai. We still have to do the partner dynamics video before we officially close the chapters on the 01 team, but with the recent release of Time Strangers via time of recording and Beat Break coming out, there's a high possibility that there will be more Digimon in our future. Who knows, we might arrive on time to the party for once.
Highly unlikely.
Well, you're probably right. Well, we might be fashionably late, but don't let that stop you from subscribing to the channel, so you'll be aware when we actually do show up. But what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy our series of analyses, or would you rather we focus on a different team? Let us know in the comment section. We look forward to reading it. And while you're down there, don't forget to like the video and hype us up.
Hype me up!
But for now, it's time to bring this video to a close. My name is D Reaper, and I'm a YouTuber for fun. Today's challenge, be a light in the darkness. Good luck, and we'll be seeing you all in the next one.
Monster friends to the boys and